The chair I didn't sit in. The call that unseated me. I found out I wasn't invited by accident. That's the part people stumble over when I tell them later, when they tilt their heads and say, "How could something like that just slip through the cracks?" As if exclusion has to arrive loudly, with trumpets or cruelty announced in advance. But erasure is quieter than that. It arrives disguised as oversight. The florist called at 10:42 a.m. while I was standing at my kitchen counter trimming the stems of hydrangeas I'd bought for myself. Blue and white cool colors. Calming ones. I'd learned to keep fresh flowers around the house after my husband died. The silence pressed in less when something living occupied the space. My phone buzzed once. Unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail. "Hello?" I said, tucking the phone between my ear and shoulder. "Oh. Hi, Mrs. Harley." The woman sounded young, nervous in the way service workers get when they know they're calling about money that isn't theirs. "Yes," I said. "This is Margaret. I'm calling from Bell and Stem Floral. I just wanted to confirm final numbers for the rehearsal dinner centerpieces. White peonies, silver eucalyptus accents, beautiful choice, by the way." "Thank you," I said automatically. There was a pause. Papers shuffled. "This is for the rehearsal dinner on Friday, correct? 62 place settings." "Yes," I said. "That's right." Another pause. Longer this time. "Oh," she said softly. "I'm so sorry, this is awkward. I don't see your name listed on the seating chart." I stopped trimming the stems. "I beg your pardon? I just want to make sure I'm looking at the correct document," she rushed on. "Sometimes the planner sends multiple drafts. But the head table, the family table, your name isn't on either." I wanted to confirm before we print place cards. For a moment, I genuinely thought she must be mistaken. Weddings are chaos. Lists get duplicated. Files mislabeled. Still, something cold slid into my chest. "Could you read me the names at the family table?" I asked. She did. Father of the groom. Mother of the bride. Stepfather of the bride. A cousin I barely knew. A childhood friend of Claire's who'd flown in from Oregon. But not me. I thanked her. Calmly. Too calmly. "I appreciate you checking," I said. "I'll follow up." I hung up and sat down at the dining table without realizing I'd moved. The hydrangeas lay forgotten on the counter, water pooling around their cut ends. My son Aaron's wedding was in 6 days. 6 days. I'd been involved since the beginning. Not controlling God knows. I'd learned that lesson, early but present. Available, reliable, quiet engine beneath the spectacle. When Claire said the original venue felt a bit small, I'd written the check for the upgrade without blinking. When Aaron mentioned the photographer they loved was just outside their budget, I told him not to worry about it. I paid for the suit alterations, the wine tasting, the welcome bags for out-of-town guests. I even covered Claire's mother's hotel because Claire had said, laughing lightly, it would be awkward to ask her directly. I remembered that laugh now. How easy it had been. How practiced. And yet, I wasn't invited. I sat there for a long time. Long enough for the house to creak around me, for the refrigerator to kick on and off, for the morning light to shift across the table where I'd once helped Aaron with math homework, his small hands gripping a pencil too tightly. I didn't cry. That surprised me most of all. Instead, I felt something settle heavy, unmistakable, final. Recognition. I picked up my phone and opened our message thread. Me. I won't be attending the wedding events. Wishing you peace. I stared at it for a moment before pressing send. 5 minutes later, my phone lit up. Aaron. Wait, what? Mom, of course you're coming. What are you talking about? I read the message twice. Then I set the phone down. Because I already knew the truth. Claire hadn't planned with me. She'd planned around me. And I was done pretending not to notice. The The quiet math of giving. I didn't answer Aaron's message right away. Not because I was punishing him, and not because I didn't love him. I didn't answer because I needed to understand something first, something I had spent years avoiding. At what point does generosity turn into invisibility? I rose from the table and walked to the living room, where the afternoon light spilled across the bookshelf my husband had built the year before he died. He'd measured twice, cut once, proud in the careful way he always was. That shelf held photo albums, old tax folders, a few novels I reread when the house felt too quiet. I reached for the bottom drawer of the sideboard. Inside was a slim accordion file, pale blue, edges softened with use. I hadn't opened it in months, maybe longer. I carried it back to the dining table and spread it open. Receipts, checks, bank statements, notes in my handwriting. Venue upgrade, $8,500. Photographer deposit, $3,200. Suit alterations, $640. Wine tasting, $1,150. Welcome brunch catering, $2,400. Each number felt oddly impersonal now, stripped of the love that had accompanied it. I remembered the moments attached to them. The phone calls, the laughter, Aaron's relief when I said, "I've got it. I always had it." That had been the problem. The phone buzzed again. "Aaron, Mom, please call me. I don't understand what's happening." I typed, deleted, typed again. Finally, I sent one sentence. "Me. I'm not upset. I'm stepping back." The 3 dots appeared almost instantly, then disappeared, then appeared again. No reply. I didn't chase him. Instead, I opened my laptop. I logged into my email and searched for the vendor confirmations. There were more than I remembered. So many small things that added up to something enormous. I drafted polite, professional messages. "Due to a change in circumstances, I need to cancel my contribution too. Please confirm what portion is refundable. Thank you for your understanding." I didn't explain. I didn't apologize. I didn't accuse. I just stopped. The florist refunded half. The brunch caterer refunded all but the deposit. The open bar extension gone. The extra floral arch gone. By the time I closed my laptop, the wedding had quietly shrunk. That evening, Aaron came over. I saw his car pull into the driveway and felt a familiar instinct. Rise, straighten the cushions, put the kettle on, soften myself. I didn't do any of that. I stayed seated. He knocked once, twice, then let himself in with the key I'd given him years ago, back when I trusted my presence in his life was assumed. He looked tired. His tie was loosened, his hair rumpled, the way it used to be after long nights studying in college. "Nom," he said, voice tight. "What's going on?" I gestured to the chair across from me. He didn't sit right away. "Claire says you're upset about something, but she doesn't know what," he continued. "And now vendors are calling, asking about payments. She thinks you're punishing us." I met his eyes. "No," I said evenly. "I'm just no longer sponsoring my exclusion." He frowned. "What does that even mean?" "It means," I said, "that I paid for a wedding I wasn't invited to participate in." "That's not true," he said quickly. "Of course you're invited." I reached for my phone and slid it across the table. "The florist disagrees." He stared at the screen. "Read the message." Read it again. Color drained from his face. I didn't know," he said. "There must be some mistake." "There wasn't," I replied. "Not a logistical one." He sank into the chair. Silence stretched between us, thick and unfamiliar. "Claire handled most of the planning," he said finally. You thought I'd always be there," I said gently. "No matter how small I was made to feel." He rubbed his face with both hands. "She never said you weren't welcome. She didn't have to," I said. "Exclusion doesn't always announce itself." He looked up at me then, really looked, as if noticing something he'd missed. "You should have told me sooner," he said. I shook my head. "You should have noticed." That landed. He swallowed. "What do you want me to do?" I considered the question carefully. "I want you to understand," I said, "that love doesn't mean endless access. And help doesn't mean obligation." He nodded slowly. "I need time," I added. "And space." He stood when he left. No hug, no argument. Just a quiet, uncertain goodbye. The wedding went on. Smaller. Tighter. Claire smiled in the photos I later saw online, but something brittle showed through the curve of her mouth, the way her eyes flicked toward the edges of the frame. I sent a card. No check. Months passed, and for the first time in a very long while, my life grew quieter, not emptier, but clearer. The space where noise used to be. The quiet didn't arrive all at once. At first, it came in thin layers, missed calls that weren't returned, weekends with no plans, a calendar suddenly stripped of, obligations that had never been written down but always expected. I noticed it most in the mornings. For years, I'd woken with a small jolt of readiness, as if someone might need something before I even finished my first cup of tea. A bill. A decision. A reassurance. Even after Aaron moved out, that alertness stayed with me, wired into my bones. Now, there was nothing waiting. The first few mornings, I felt unmoored. I stood in the kitchen with my mug cooling in my hands, unsure where to direct myself. It felt selfish to enjoy the stillness. It felt dangerous. On the fourth morning, I took a walk. It was late autumn, the kind that smells like damp leaves and distant fireplaces. The park down the street had benches Aaron used to climb as a boy, leaping off them like they were cliffs. I sat on one and watched the world pass without needing to intervene. No one called. That afternoon, Aaron texted. "Aaron, Claire's been really upset. She doesn't understand why this got so big." I read the message twice, then typed carefully. "Me. It didn't get big. It was already big. I just stopped holding it up." He didn't reply. Weeks went by before I saw him again. When he did come over, it was unannounced. I was in the middle of sorting through a box of old photographs, the kind you swear you'll organize someday, but never quite do. He hovered in the doorway, hands in his pockets. "Can I sit?" he asked. I nodded. He picked up a photo from the table. It was one of my favorites, Aaron at 7, missing a front tooth, standing proudly beside the crooked birdhouse he'd built with his father. "I forgot about this," he said softly. I watched his face as something shifted behind his eyes. "You were always there," he said. "For everything." "Yes," I replied. "I was." He swallowed. "And I think I started to believe that meant you always would be. No matter what." I didn't answer right away. "That's when it turns from love into assumption," I said finally. He nodded slowly. "She says you're trying to control us by pulling back," he said. "That you're making a point." I met his gaze. "I am making a point. Just not the one she thinks." He waited. "I'm teaching you how to have me in your life without owning me," I said. "That's not control. That's boundaries." He leaned back, exhaling. "I don't know how to fix this," he admitted. "That's because it's not something you fix with gestures," I said. "It's something you change with behavior." When he left that day, he hugged me. Briefly. Carefully. As if afraid I might disappear if he held on too tightly. I started filling my time differently. I joined a ceramics class at the community center Wednesday afternoons, wheels humming softly, hands coated in clay. The instructor was a woman my age named